Good afternoon to all our viewers. This is a continuation of the Gunashila Patient Education Series, and this will be our 36th episode. I'm Dr. Jyoti Menon, Director of Infertility Services, and with me I have Dr. Ashwini Mahesh,
Good afternoon.
who is one of our senior consultants, and we both are attached to the Baswandi Gudi branch of Gunashila Hospital. We thought that in view of the present COVID-19 infection and pandemic which is going around, and the start of vaccination, which we feel is a very good thing for all women to take before they come for infertility treatment, but there is a certain group of women, and we want to bring it to your notice, who are called as those who have poor ovarian reserve. And unfortunately, this particular group really cannot do too much of postponement of the infertility treatment for the various reasons which we will discuss during the course of this program. So, Dr. Ashwini will be able to tell you what we actually mean by this poor ovarian reserve. Are there ways to diagnose? And is there a way of overcoming this naturally or with medical help? Dr. Ashwini, please.
So before going to poor ovarian reserve, we'll just have I want to discuss a little bit about what is ovarian reserve, what is the
Yeah,
natural cause of
yes.
the ovarian reserve in women. So basically, first coming on to what is ovarian reserve. Ovarian reserve refers to the number and the quality of eggs in a woman at a given period of time. So and the average number of eggs what woman has is directly proportional to her age, and it depends on the age. So what is the natural course, and what are these eggs, when are they formed, how do they go along with the age, to going on to that.
Is
So
there a difference between sperm production and ovarian the production of the eggs from the ovary? Is it different in men and women?
yes, ma'am.
Why should we worried only about the
About the
women
women,
and not
yeah,
the men?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Unlike men, women are born with fixed number of eggs. Men have the capacity to reproduce the sperms. Every 3 months they put out a new cohort of sperms, but unlike women who are born with fixed number of
So they
eggs,
cannot again
again make there
make
is
the eggs,
eggs.
okay, or
So
the oocytes or the
yeah,
eggs as they're called. Huh.
basically what happens is when we are still in the womb of our mothers, by around somewhere around our second to third month, the egg production begins in the female fetus. So that egg production begins by around 6 to 8 weeks, then it increases and reaches a maximum of almost about 6 to 7 millions by 5 months of gestation or 20 weeks. Then on there is a decrease in the eggs. There won't be another production of eggs, but the number of the eggs goes on depleting. So by birth we will have only about 1 to 2 millions, and by the time we attain our menarche, that is about 13 or 14 years of age, we will be left with 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs of eggs. And then once the this depletion goes on continuously, by late 30s it begins to the slope begins to drop. By somewhere between 24 27 years it starts decreasing, but steeply falls after 35.
So
And
basically,
all,
what when you see say depletion, this is some a natural cause
it's a
where
natural
it's
cause.
known as it's scientifically it's known as apoptosis.
Apoptosis,
So
yeah,
where
yeah.
the eggs sort of die within the ovary. This is
Yeah,
a natural
it's a
process.
natural process. It cannot be altered or it cannot be stopped, and it is genetically determined. So every woman has a fixed number of eggs, and it's totally based on her genes, whether she'll have a normal quantity, she's having a low quantity, or she's having a higher quantity, which will be further, the depletion might be further aggravated by various other
Other factors. So
factors.
the rate of depletion depends on lots of other factors,
Lots of other
but
factors
basically there is a bit of genetic predisposition also.
also. So
So
when we are born with fixed number of eggs, that's which cannot be increased.
okay. So going on to the next, this thing is what exactly does I think we've covered this. You've covered this again, but just to reiterate it, It's reduction in the quality of the
number and the quality of
both
the
quality and
eggs
quantity,
in a
both
woman of reproductive age group. And we have seen that when many women who come with us come to us for infertility, it's an important cause because it's difficult to treat and difficult to get this woman pregnant. But roughly to tell about in women especially who are undergoing IVF, about 10% we might have is the incidence, but nowadays it's really
Okay,
increased.
that is another reason why we are actually doing this
Hmm.
patient education series, because we want to educate you all again that unfortunately, when we have gone through a lot of scientific literature, the rate of depletion is much higher in the Indian women
Indian women
as
compared to
compared to
Westerners.
Westerners. And that is the reason why we also want you all to know that infertility treatment should not be postponed, especially if you are in a certain age group.
Certain age group.
Okay, so
And this poor ovarian reserve is most commonly seen in women in their mid to late 30s. And when women age, that is, women are more than 35 years, there is a decline of the number of the eggs, but it is also associated with decrease in quality. So, if you are young and you have a low reserve, the chances of pregnancy is better because the quality of the eggs
it
will
will
be
be good.
good. But when they are aged and they have poor ovarian reserve, the chances of conception is much less.
Correct. So both in the ways, both as regards to becoming pregnant, because of the quality or the quantity being less, is much better
Hmm.
when you're younger as
Younger
compared to
compared to
older.
older.
Okay.
So then this is a just a graphical representation. There is a association called Center for Disease Control. They have studied the incidence of infertility in various age groups. So by the age of 30 years, the infertility risk is about 7%. We can see when they become 35, it is 11. From 35 to 40, is this increasing,
Steep
and yeah,
increase, as you
steep
can see.
increase to 33, almost three times. And from 40 it is much a faster steep.
Mm.
So there on the left side bottom, we can see a graph where a blue line shows the decreasing incidence of decreasing chances
Now,
of fertility as the age goes on, and the miscarriage rates increase. That is because the quality also will come down along with the quantity, the number. And on the right side graph, it is showing the cumulative live birth rate. So because the chances, I mean, they'll have poor quality eggs, so resulting in a poor quality embryo or an abnormal embryo, the chances of live birth also will come
so
down.
this slide will tell you both increasing in infertility incidence according to age,
Age,
reduction in the pregnancy rates as well as the live birth
live birth
rates,
rates, and
and increase
increasing
in miscarriage
miscarriage
rate
rate.
again according to age.
Age,
Mm.
according to age. So these, that was the general trend what happens, but there are certain women who are at a higher risk, already age, advanced maternal age more than 35 years, they have a increased risk of poor ovarian reserve. But based on race and ethnicity also, like madam was already telling, we Indians have we reach menopause about 10 years
Earlier.
earlier compared to any westerners. And
And there are plenty of studies in
hmm,
support of this.
support of this. So we, compared to any westerners, Asians have a lower reproductive lifespan, rather, to put it in properly. Then family history, if the mother has a history of early menopause, or sisters have attained menopause early, we are also at a high risk. So such women also are risk of poor ovarian reserve. Then conditions which will affect the ovary, repeated, like endometriosis, where it causes the damage to the stroma, so the oocytes will be injured there. Then any genital tuberculosis, and any surgeries on ovary, like for if they have this endometriosis is a recurrent condition, so repeated surgeries on the ovary or removal of one
Oh, worry.
ovary. Then cancers, in women, cancers which will require either chemotherapy, or they are cancer anti cancer drugs. So those drugs will act on rapidly dividing cells, and in women, ovaries also contain eggs which are rapidly dividing, so they also get depleted. Then any
So
radiation,
chemotherapy or radiation, both are
radiotherapy, yeah,
toxic to
both are
the
toxic to
to
the
the
eggs.
ex-
Eggs.
uh,
And smoking also aggravates it due to various various causes. Then genetic predisposition, few genetic mutations like Turner's mosaic, or a few women can have something called as fragile X
expert.
mutation. So these women are prone to have a higher premature fall in their
Mm.
oocyte count.
And also, like you have also mentioned that yes, uterine artery embolization
In
is a
yeah,
treatment
in a
for
fibroid, yeah.
fibroids, but if it is overdone, the
Hmm.
blood supply to the
Hmm.
ovaries can get
Can
affected,
get
and
affected.
this can cause the reserve ovarian reserve to fall.
Because it decreases the blood flow to the ovary.
Correct.
Then to summarize, now we are seeing more and more women who are concentrating more on their academics, or they on their profession, and many couples who want to be financially very sound before getting their I mean before conceiving. So apart from delaying the childbirth, so we are seeing many women who are getting pregnant only in their late 30s. Along with there is increasing incidence of poor ovarian reserve, as we are seeing even at our centers. We are seeing even girls who
Plenty.
are like around 25, 28 also coming with
Poor
diminished
ovarian.
ovarian reserve. So all this together has further worsened this condition, and it has become really a challenging situation for the fertility specialist to offer them the treatment, get them the pregnant. And so much of research is going on, like what is the cause why women are attaining a premature
Red,
menopause, or
reduction in
yeah,
ovarian
reductioning in
capacities.
ovarian
Okay,
capacity.
and I also want to add one thing here, Ashwini, that when they delay their childbearing or become pregnant when they are older, they have a much higher chance of pregnancy related
Related, yes ma'am,
complications.
yes ma'am.
So
Because
that
of
is an
aging, yeah.
additional problem for people who become pregnant when they are older,
Hmm.
whether they have more amount of blood pressure, more amount of diabetes,
Diabetes,
or
yeah,
and
abortion
operative
rates,
deliveries,
yeah, operate
abortions, all that will increase the older you become when you have
become
your baby.
baby.
Mm. So
Then, how to identify? There is no characteristic symptoms. A woman may not even know that her ovarian reserve is
is
coming down, but one of the symptom could be frequent cycles of she gets frequent, very free. Like previously, she was menstruating every 28 days. She starts menstruating every 20, 22, or 24 days.
mm,
So that could be one of the sign, but you cannot definitely tell that it is the thing. But there are various tests which have identified to know the reserve. One is called as baseline FSH levels. It's a blood test where on the day 2, day 3 of our menstrual cycle we'll measure it, and normally it should be less than 10. If it is increasing, probably she's
going in
going
for
in for a
premature ovarian
premature
failure.
ovarian failure. But we have seen even women with pure diminished ovarian reserve having normal FSH levels. So this cannot be considered as a sensitive. There are two other sensitive markers. One is called as an antral follicle count, and the other one called as an anti-Mullerian hormone. They are much sensitive, and they predict, they diagnose and they predict the outcome also in such patients.
So they are part of the ovarian
Ovarian
reserve
reserve,
testing. Right now, those
reserve
are accepted as part of the
accepted as a
ovarian.
part of this thing. So coming on to what is this AMH and what is AFC. AMH is nothing but a hormone. It's known as anti-Mullerian hormone. It is expressed by these small follicles, that is early eggs. So it will directly correlate with the quantity.
So it's basically a blood
Blood
test.
test, it's a blood test. It is easy, it is reliable, it's a direct indicator, and it can be measured in any
Part of the
part of
cycle.
the cycle. It
Mm.
doesn't vary within the cycle and across
Between
the
cycles
cycles
also.
also.
Mm.
So, and one more advantage is it also helps us, like when we are treating this woman, to fix what dose of medication is required and how is she gonna respond.
And we can
Normal,
counsel her also,
oh
depending
yeah,
on all this. Huh?
counselor. Normal range is 1.3 to 3.4. So any woman with less than 1.1, then they are considered as poor ovarian reserve. Coming on to AFC, it is an ultrasound parameter wherein we can do a transvaginal ultrasound, and the eggs, what are the all the eggs between 2 to 10 will be measured, and that will tell those are the reserves. It's very easy to perform. It is non-invasive, but the only disadvantage is it
It
has
has
to
to be
be
done.
seen on the day 2, day 3 of our cycle only, and it cannot be done in the later part of the cycle, because if there is a dominant follicle or if there is a cyst, it will
So we
be
need to do a
misleading.
baseline.
Baseline, we have to
Okay.
do a baseline, and it is more subjective. Any criterias to predict poor ovarian reserve?
So what this is, Dr. Ashwini will tell you in this basically is when there are some scientific papers which have come out or scientific criteria, and Bologna is a place where this was actually declared,
Hmm.
which will help us diagnose or put them into various categories.
Categories.
Okay.
So few people internationally sat and they wanted to draw one proper criteria or one come to one understanding so that uniformly we can pick it up. So first came the Bologna criteria where they told three parameters of which at least two have to be present. One is advanced maternal age, that is age more than 40, but for India I think we can take it as more than 35.
5.
And any other risk factors already I told, those previous any surgeries, endometriomas, any of
Yeah.
those factors, or if they have an undergone in a normal a regular IVF
IVF, sir.
protocol and they have given us only less or equal to 3 eggs, and any abnormal ovarian reserve test like I told, AMH of less than 1.1 or AFC of less than 5 to 7, they'll be considered as poor responders. Then one more criteria, but what a few people tell us, this will predict only expected poor response, but what they saw is later they saw that even women with normal AMH, low age, or elderly women with normal reserve also were responding poorly. So then came up this Poseidon criteria. So
This is more, Bologna is more for diagnosis. Okay.
diagnosis,
Poseidon is going to help the clinician
clinicians, how to st- uh,
decide
st-
which group
hmm,
they come under
hmm,
and accordingly plan the
medications
medication.
for them and how to improve their response to treatment.
And
So
we take, just go back, no?
huh,
We take three criteria here also. You're
hmm,
looking at age,
age, AFC,
AFC,
and AMH.
and age is less than 35 years and more than
More
35
than
years.
35 years. AFC, like I told you, normal, that is more than 5 or less than 5. AMH of more than 1.2 or less than 1.2. They also consider previously how they have responded. So based on that, they have given a certain criteria and they form certain guidelines. So based on that, which we can stimulate them
Yes.
to give a good response.
So if you look at this particular slide, one half what was earlier done was only for diagnosis. It
Diagnosis.
wouldn't help us either counsel or decide what kind of medication, what kind of injections, and what kind of protocols as
Hmm.
it is. Whereas once we got the Poseidon,
Hmm.
it'll help us both in counseling as well what would be the probable outcome, as well as decide
Hmm.
what is the
What is that
stimulation,
stimulation
best stimulation for
for
them.
them? So then how do we treat this poor ovarian responders? So when we are treating any woman with poor ovarian reserve, we have to take into consideration so many factors. One could be her age, whether she's young or she's elderly, how long has she been married, what is her reserve parameters, whether they are literally very low or they are okay, what is does she have any associated problems like endometriosis or any tubal disease, or she has any genital tuberculosis or any other factors which are telling directly go for a IVF, or associated male parameters. Husband semen parameters are also important, if his count is normal or whether it is low, or it's a condition where he also has some like no sperm in his semen, and what the couple want also we have to decide. So based on that, we have various options. They could try naturally, or we could do intrauterine inseminations or IUI, or we can do directly go for ART such as IVF or donor oocyte. It's like, ma'am, if they are very young, they're just like less than 30, they've been married for 1.5 or 2 years, husband parameters are okay, there are no associate parameters, then such women we can counsel for natural few cycles followed by IUI.
Because we've had this thing. So there are many factors we have to take into consideration, like you rightly said,
Hmm.
before we decide what treatment to advise
Hmm.
them.
Hmm.
Because at the end of it all, these are all numbers.
Hmm.
They just require one good sperm and
And
one
one
good
good
egg,
egg.
which can probably happen if they are young.
Young.
But we do not have too much time, especially as you grow older,
Hmm.
to try the natural
Hmm.
or the
Hmm.
IUI.
Hmm.
And if you seriously want to try with your own egg, then you must consider to go in for the assisted
ART.
reproductive technology, which is rather the IVF or also called as ICSI.
Hmm.
And as a last option, you can use somebody else's oocytes
Oocytes.
if you are not willing for all this initially.
Hmm. So how does ART be, how, why they have to choose ART? IVF or ICSI has a few advantages. One is it's going to reduce the time to pregnancy, so faster the conception, and per cycle the conception rates are higher. In an IUI it is about in best of the centers it is 20 to 22%, and IVF ICSI is 50 to 55%. So
55%.
the pregnancy rates are good. and it reduces the time to pregnancy. Apart from that, if a woman is more than 35 years of age, we have embryos, we can also screen them, we can do pre genetic testing on them and transfer normal embryos, which will increase their pregnancy rate, reduce their miscarriage rates, and also reduce carrying abnormal embryos. Then what, when a woman is coming to a IVF, she has to be aware in a poor ovarian reserve about few things. That is, she's going to give us less number of eggs. The quality is
Naturally,
going
though.
to be poor, so the fertilization rates will be poor. Embryo formation rate will be poor, or they'll have less number of embryos, and there are increased chances of miscarriage. See, one thing we would like to throw a light is number of eggs is directly proportional to the number of
Number of good.
embryos they give. More the number of embryos, more number of eggs we get a higher number of embryos, so we can select there. But unfortunately, in this poor responders, their reserve is low, so they are not going to give us more number of embryos.
And the more number of embryos you have, especially in the older age group, you have a choice of choosing the best ones either to transfer or to put them for the pre-implantation genetic screening, so that you can ultimately have a choice of transferring only
Only
euploid
euploid
embryos.
embryos.
Okay.
So this is another graphical representation showing that as age increases, the number of abnormal embryos increases. We can see from 35 onwards, the graph is steeply increasing. That is because there is reduction in the quality of the
For
eggs.
less than 15, it's about 15%. For
Hmm.
less than 35 years, it's about 15%.
Hmm.
But if you go to anywhere above 38 to 40,
It
it's
doubles.
drastically almost goes
Yeah.
up to 45%. Yeah,
45%, and more than 40, it is nearly
yeah.
65% abnormal embryos will be there.
Mm.
Then what is embryo pooling? In a woman who really wants to have her own want to have an offspring from her own oocytes, we can do offer them some.
And oocytes, and they have poor ovarian reserve.
And poor ovarian reserve, embryo pooling is a best option. Here, female partner's eggs are collected over a period of time, fertilized with the male partner, embryos are formed and frozen. Once they have sufficient number of embryos, we are going to select them either morphologically, or we are going to select based on genetic screening and transfer the good embryo so that they'll have a good
Yeah.
pregnancy rates or
When we,
good chance
yeah,
of
correct.
pregnancy.
And when we mean period of time, we actually are saying that we have to do multiple
Multiple
stimulation protocols.
stimulations, yeah, multiple protocols, where it could be in two different repeated cycles, or it can be in the same cycle picking twice
Yeah.
the
The whole
eggs.
idea is to produce more
In
number of eggs, get many
many
more
more
embryos,
embryos,
and then have a choice to transfer the best
best
embryos
embryos,
with or without pre-implantation genetic
genetic
screening.
screening. So, when not to go for embryo pulling is also important. A woman has already tried one or two cycles of IVF. Every time she has ended up producing, like giving poor quality oocytes, no embryos are forming. Or when the woman is an advanced maternal age and husband's parameters are also his counts are severely low, or we have to take out the sperms from the testes. Or when the couple are looking like financially, they want a good pregnancy rate, they just want a good pregnancy rate, and couple are willing to go for donor oocyte,
Donocytes.
taking other woman's egg will be a best option for them. So coming on to the conclusion.
So, like what we have discussed till now, we want to again emphasize that poor ovarian reserve is a real problem, and in India it seems to be happening even earlier compared to our Western counterparts. So they must be aware that women
Limited.
have a limited reproductive lifespan, because unlike men, unfortunately, we don't produce fresh batches of sperms like them. We have all limited number of eggs with which we are born.
We are born, and unfortunately there is no medication or no interventions available to stop this depletion and increase the number of eggs.
So, like Dr. Ashwini has spoken to you all, especially when you know that you are slightly on the above 35, on the older age groups, you have poor ovarian reserve, the time to reduce the time to pregnancy is to go in for IVF
IVF,
ICSI. Mm.
IVF ICSI, and younger the age you have identified with poor ovarian reserve, you're younger the age, better the chances of pregnancy even with embryo pooling. When you want to get it from your own oocytes, I think you have to get on to early to IVF to give you a best chances of pregnancy. Earlier, younger you are, the better the chances of pregnancy, because your quality of eggs will be good. So in case if you want to try with your own oocytes, despite of whatever, irrespective of your age, then embryo pooling is the only option. And that gives you a better chance to have your own progeny from your own eggs. But you should be aware regarding the cost, the time, and also the success rates.
Yeah, and what Dr. Ashwini means when she talks about social egg freezing is, if for whatever reason you are not, maybe not even married,
Hmm.
and you want to postpone getting married because of either financial or professional or whatever are the other reasons that you're postponing your pregnancy, postponing marriage, then because age is catching up, you can still do what is called a social egg
Social egg
freezing.
freezing. Freeze your eggs
Freeze your eggs.
for
Yeah, late for later
for later
use. But
use.
again, we want to emphasize that if you had a choice, if you were married, it's better to do an embryo
Embryo
freezing
freezing.
rather than do a egg
Egg
freezing.
freezing.
If
Freeze
you're
it.
unmarried, you do not have an option. You can
Option, we
go
have to
ahead and do
freeze,
the,
and you can use it at later. You
yeah.
should always remember, younger, what we are trying to tell you is, when you freeze the eggs at an younger age, the quality will be good. So later you try naturally. We are not telling come and use it. You can try naturally, and if it doesn't work out, always you have your
This is
frozen
like a
eggs.
fixed deposit
Fixed
because
deposit.
you have this as a backup.
Backup.
So in case you don't conceive naturally once you get married, you can use the frozen eggs
Mm.
or the frozen embryos if you have. Once if you're married and you have frozen embryos also and you still want to try naturally, it is possible. There is nothing that not possible. We are just giving you options.
It's like a backup.
Yeah.
And patients who have cancers, like any cancer for that matter, woman has to take on, I mean, she has to take treatment like chemotherapeutic drugs, or she has to undergo radiation. Prior starting your treatment, you also can freeze your eggs if you're unmarried, and you can freeze your embryos if you're married, because you can complete the treatment and then try naturally. If it doesn't work out, even then, eh, you
You
need
have a
not
backup.
get disappointed that you're not gonna, the chances of pregnancy are very low, because you will have your backup. You can come and utilize them.
Mm. Thank you. I hope we have been able to clear some of your doubts regarding why people who have reduced ovarian reserve should come for infertility treatment earlier. And if you have any questions, you can always send them to our ask@gunashila.com, and we will definitely reply to you. And if required, if you want, in this present day, we are more than willing to do either Skype or Zoom calls with you in order to clarify all your doubts. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for listening in.